All right, let me set the scene. Imagine being Simon Cowell. For years, you're the king of TV. Millions tune in just to hear your verdict. You're sharp, you're ruthless, you're untouchable. Then suddenly, a single viral video flips everything. Instead of being the judge, you're the one being judged. A clip of you racks up tens of millions of views, and now the world is laughing. They're calling you plastic, AI Simon, saying you look fragile, even mocking you like you're a joke. Brutal, right? But here's the twist. Behind that viral backlash is a story that's way darker, way more emotional, and way more human than people realize. Today, we're unpacking the truth Simon Cowell himself has revealed. The accidents, the surgeries, the pain, and how it all nearly destroyed him. Stick around, because by the end of this video, I guarantee you'll never see Simon Cowell the same way again. So let's start with the moment that kicked this whole backlash into overdrive. A short clip surfaces online. Simon walking down a tunnel. He looks stiff, fragile, almost uncomfortable in his own skin. TikTok, Twitter, you name it, the internet goes wild. Comments fly in. He looks like an NPC. Simon Cowell has turned into a wax figure. This can't be real. It's AI. The clip blows up to 50 million views. Now, Simon's no stranger to controversy. He's been roasted for his blunt comments and savage one-liners his whole career. But this was different. This was personal. People weren't judging his TV personality, they were judging his face, his body, his health. And the thing is, nobody really knew the full story behind why he looked the way he did. That's where the dark truth comes in. Here's what most people don't realize. Simon's new look didn't just appear overnight. It's been years in the making. Back in the early 2000s, Simon openly admitted to getting Botox and fillers. At first, it was just a little bit of Botox, nothing major. But we all know how that goes. Once you start, it's hard to stop, especially when your face isn't just your face. It's literally your brand. Think about it. This is the guy who's on primetime TV week after week for over 2 decades. His whole career is about being the sharp, immovable judge. If he starts looking old, tired, irrelevant, he feels like his power slips. And Simon admitted it. There was a point where he looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize himself. His own son, Eric, once didn't recognize him after a heavy round of Botox. That's how far it went. So yeah, while people online are saying, why would he do this to himself? The answer is simple. Pressure. Pressure from fame. Pressure to stay relevant. Pressure to never let the audience see weakness. But then comes 2020. And this is where Simon's story takes a brutal turn. At his Malibu home, he's testing out a new electric bike, the kind of high-powered machine you probably shouldn't mess with casually. 1 second of miscalculation, and boom, he's thrown to the ground. His back shatters in multiple places. 6 hours of surgery. A steel rod inserted into his spine. Doctors warning him he might never walk again. Simon himself later said he came within a minute of not making it. Imagine that, one of the most powerful men in TV history, reduced to fighting just to sit up in bed. And the recovery? Absolute torture. He couldn't walk, couldn't even lift a glass without pain. Friends said he looked pale, frail, hollowed out. And here's the rawest part. Lying in that hospital bed, he thought about one thing: his son. He was terrified that Eric would lose his dad. That's what gave him the fight to push through rehab, through agony, through the fear that he'd never be the same. So when people now look at him and say he looks fragile, well, yeah, that's what happens when your spine is rebuilt with metal. That fragility is survival. Now, let's go back to the cosmetic stuff, because Simon's accident made the online conversation even harsher. People started saying, is this all just plastic surgery? Experts broke it down year by year. Botox in his 40s, cheek fillers in his 50s, eyelid issues, rumors of jaw implants, even that 2,000 pounds soft lift back in 2008, the so-called 21st century facelift. And yeah, Simon denied the big stuff. He told The Sun in 2024 he hasn't had facelifts, just minor tweaks. He even laughs at the speculation sometimes. But he's also admitted he went too far, and that's the heartbreaking part. It wasn't about trying to be vain. It was about being terrified of aging out of relevance. And here's the kicker. Years earlier, Simon once joked that Jeremy Clarkson needed Botox and facelifts. Now the internet is throwing those same words back at him. It's like the harsh judge finally got judged. This is the irony of it all. Simon Cowell built his empire by judging people. He'd sit there with the raised eyebrow, the cutting remarks, the smirk that could end a career. And now, he's the one being judged. His face, his walk, his health, all ripped apart by strangers online. It's almost poetic. The man who once decided dreams with a single yes or no is now the contestant in the court of public opinion. Except the judges now aren't music moguls. They're TikTok users firing off comments. And the truth is, Simon knows it. He's admitted the mistakes. He's admitted the regret. And that honesty, that's what makes this backlash sting even more. Because this isn't about some celebrity scandal. It's about a man who's human enough to admit he messed up. So where does Simon go from here? Honestly, his answer is simple. fatherhood. When his son Eric was born in 2014, it shifted everything. Suddenly, ratings and contracts didn't matter as much. What mattered was story time, bath time, bike rides. He's even said he doesn't want Eric to inherit billions. He wants him to inherit values. And that's the real truth behind all of this. Simon isn't chasing Botox or fillers anymore. He's not trying to be the forever young TV mogul. He's trying to be present, to actually live. That's why the accident hit him so hard. Not because he almost lost TV, but because he almost lost his chance to be a dad. But let's be real. The internet doesn't care about any of that. They don't care about the accident, the recovery, the fatherhood. They care about the meme. And Simon knows that. He's lived long enough in the spotlight to know that once people latch onto an image, they don't let go. The problem is, meme culture dehumanizes. It turns a man's near-death experience and years of recovery into a 2-second clip for laughs. And yeah, Simon has thick skin, but even he's admitted it hurts. That's why he's leaned into honesty. He can't control the memes, but he can control how he tells his story. Here's where things get deep. What does all this mean for Simon Cowell's legacy? For years, he was the most powerful man in television, but now the story people tell isn't about his empire. It's about his face, his walk, his surgeries. And Simon knows that. That's why he's shifted gears. Instead of chasing ratings, he's putting money into charities, scholarships, and projects that actually matter. He said it himself. He doesn't want to be remembered just for TV. He wants to be remembered for giving kids chances he never had. That's a pretty powerful shift from the guy who once roasted people for their dreams. So what's the lesson here? Honestly, it's simple. Fame is brutal. It builds you up, it tears you down, and it never lets you age in peace. Simon Cowell isn't perfect. He's made mistakes. He's said cruel things, but the dark truth behind that viral video is that he's human. He's fragile, and he's fighting, just like anyone else. The internet saw a meme, but behind the meme is a survivor, a dad, a man who's had to look in the mirror and face the reality of aging, regret, and mortality, all while the world watches. Here's the thing. Simon didn't build his empire completely on his own. The TV networks, the producers, the PR machines, they all wanted him to be the mean judge, because cruelty sold. Every eye roll, every savage one-liner, it was marketed and replayed until it became a global brand. And that's the wild part. The same industry that propped him up is nowhere to be found now that people are tearing him down. He gets mocked for his new look, for his accident, for chasing youth, but nobody talks about how the system demanded he keep up appearances, stay marketable, stay relevant. So when we talk about the backlash, it's worth asking, did Simon create this monster? Or did the industry create it and leave him holding the bag? Here's where it gets ironic. Back in the day, Simon shows thrived off transformation arcs. The awkward kid who became a star, the underdog who stunned the judges, those were the storylines that hooked audiences. And now, the transformation storyline is Simon himself. People dissect his face the same way they once dissected contestants' performances. The before and after photos, the "what happened to him" headlines. His appearance has become entertainment. It's almost like the tables turned, and he's now living inside the exact machine he once controlled. But here's the twist that not everyone sees. Simon has actually tried to rewrite his story. After the accident, after the trolling, he's leaned into being more authentic, more emotional, more family-focused. And say what you want, but he hasn't fully disappeared. He still shows up on Got Talent. He still laughs at the memes, and he still talks openly about his mistakes. If anything, he's trying to humanize himself after decades of being the cold judge behind the desk. So maybe the dark truth isn't just the surgeries or the downfall. Maybe it's that Simon's fighting for redemption in a culture that doesn't always forgive. And whether people root for him or clown him, he's still part of the conversation. So yeah, next time you see that viral clip of Simon Cowell, don't just laugh and scroll. Remember what's behind it. The broken back, the surgery spiral, the fatherhood that saved him, the truth he's finally admitting. It's emotional, it's heartbreaking, but it's also inspiring. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.